Hey there, it's Tracy. Excuse me, it's Tracy Daviero here with you from Your VA Mentor for our weekly live or a live. I'm not going to call it weekly because sometimes I come to you a couple times a week, but have some time and just waiting to take my husband to work so that our work day can start from 1 till 8. This lovely COVID schedule is super fun. And yeah, hoping that that's going to change in the next couple of weeks whenever they are opening the restaurant back up for lunch and actually for breakfast one day. So that will be good. It'd be nice to have my house empty during the day again. So anyway, today I want to talk to you about something that came up yesterday. We had a office hours call in, I don't know if you are a member of the Canadian Association of VAs. That's my VA association for Canadian VAs. And we do office hours every 2 weeks, which is really fun. We get to jump on call and ask questions, ask burning questions of the VA industry to me, and I try to help with some answers and some good resources, or just a whole good old conversation about it. And so we talked about a lot of different things yesterday. And one of the things that came up was networking and networking questions. My instinct is to yell at the dog next door to tell her to be quiet, but I'm not going to do that on this call. But if it comes out, I have to quiet her down sometimes whenever I'm out here working. She hears me and she gets all excited. She wants me to come and play with her. So my instinct is to yell, Dixie, right now, but I'm not going to do that because I'm on here with you. So anyway, one of the things we talked about yesterday was, or one of the questions that came up was networking questions and sample networking questions that VAs can use at events when they're talking to people, whatever, just to try and get, just to get some information from the business owners that they are connecting with, right? And so I thought that's what I would talk about on Your Next Live here, because I think it's a really important thing to learn and to understand as a new VA. And so I wrote down my notes here, which is pretty funny. I can actually show you my little post-it, because I write down little notes to do these lives. And so I have networking questions, and I have 5, and they're all blank, as you can see, because I'm like, I don't really need to write them down. I can just, sort of chit-chat with you guys and let you know sort of what, what I suggest and what I maybe even suggested yesterday on the call with the ladies on that call. So when you are networking with people, it's really important. We get taught sometimes to come in and have an elevator pitch, and somebody asks you in a networking, and I'm going to talk about a live networking event, but it can be an online one, and particularly now I understand, not a lot of people are doing in-person events, but I'm going to talk from the perspective of going into a live event. And so there's a couple of things that I want to talk about for that. And it's basically that even though we're taught an elevator pitch, a lot of us are taught an elevator pitch, and that's the thing that gives me anxiety about going to a networking meeting. It's either for me, the anxiety, or for the people that I'm going to meet, because it's not natural. It's very important to understand your infomercial or your 30-second elevator pitch, whatever you want to call it. It's important to understand the concept of what you're putting together there. I call it a concise marketing message in any of my trainings. If any of you went through the 5-day challenge with me in June, and 5-day challenge is coming back up in September, I'll drop a link in the group for that as well for you to register. But I call it a concise marketing message. It's very important to understand and write so that you are clear on what services you offer, who you offer them to, and why that's important, and why you're the best person to help them. Those are the concepts of pretty much every one of those things: the elevator pitch, the infomercial, the concise marketing message. The elements are all the same. They're all there. It's very important for you to understand those and you to be clear on those. But to me, I absolutely hate it when somebody comes along and recites it, because it doesn't sound natural. It doesn't matter which way you look at it, and people often stumble over it, or they get anxious about it because they're trying to remember what they said. They might get panicky, they might get flustered. It just doesn't sound natural. And so for me, networking is all about talking, having conversations, and asking questions. And so what I want to talk to you about is what kinds of questions you can answer. That was one of the first things one of the girls in the group yesterday asked, was what kinds of questions would you suggest? And I said, it really depends on what services you offer. If you are offering client care services and you go to a networking event and you are talking to a business owner, then you're going to ask that person questions about what it is that they do in their business that they could potentially need your services for. So first, what would I say in a client care situation? And I could be talking to anybody truly. I would say, oh, okay. And I don't have to say to them, I provide client care services for small business owners. I don't need to do my big infomercial. I can say to them, tell me about your business. Do you have a brick and mortar store? Okay, no, I do online. So how do you find your clients? I say, how do you work with your clients? How do you meet your clients? How do your clients find you? Those are the kinds of things. I want to talk about their clients because I want to know the volume of clients that they have. And you say, how do you have a follow-up system in place for people like me that you meet at events? Do you have a follow-up system in place? How do you work with your clients once you get them? How do they pay you? Do they pay you online? Do they pay you by check? How does that work? How do you track their payments? How do you track their documents that they need? Do you give them documents whenever, you know what I mean? So you're getting into all of these things. It's very specific. For me, client care is like answering customer service stuff, processing contacts, so people that they meet at events that they want to put into their follow-up system, or maybe subscribe to their mailing list or whatever, and taking those names and making sure that their list is up to date, and being able to, maybe manage client appointments. You can ask them about that too, if that's something that you offer, or if that's something that's relevant to their business. You can ask them how do they book time with you into your calendar? How do they get reminders for those? And do they get reminders for the appointments? And what's your, do you have a good show up rate? How do those things happen? What happens immediately after you get off the phone with somebody for a client call? If they do one-on-one work with people, how did they book? What do they do? So there's so many questions that you can ask. And here's the thing. This is what I want to, and I'm just going to give the client care as an example for this video today, but we could jump into any particular service, and those networking questions would be different for every single service, right? Because they're specific to what you are able to offer as a service, as a support service to those clients. And so when you're talking about that and you want to offer client care, ask them questions about how they handle their client care right now. That's the bottom line. You really just want to educate yourself as to what it is that they do now, and have a conversation around, do you use a scheduling system? You have a scheduling app. Do you, or if they don't, then you can suggest one and then you could manage it. Where do you keep your appointments? Do you use the Google Calendar? What else do you do in terms of admin? You don't only have to talk to them about client care. Did I just lose everybody?